Bonjour. Welcome to Fat Mascara.
Bonjour. It's a podcast about beauty culture.
I'm Jess.
I'm Jen Sullivan. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the States, Jessica.
I know. I came back on right before Inauguration Day.
Yes. I actually don't even think I mentioned that you were in France. I just had a great episode with Julie, and I didn't even mention that that's why Julie was here, because Jess was.
Well, that's fine.
En français. Well, that's in French. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, and Paris, I don't know. I am not bilingual. I speak one language, which makes me a hit whenever I go to Paris. But really admire people who do know more than one language. But I was able to navigate myself around the antique stalls of Paris, and I could not wait to tell our listeners about this incredible fragrance antique stall. I should antique, like vintage. I think vintage is better.
You were at I call it a flea market, but you were at, is this outdoors? Where were you? Set the scene.
I went to you guys are gonna give me a lot of grace for all my pronunciation, the famous Saint-Ouen, O-U-E-N flea market.
Mm-hmm.
So hundreds and hundreds of stalls. You could spend days and days there. I was only there for one day. I went for Moda for home. But of course, I had to have a beauty detour. I was with my colleague, and I was like, sorry, I'll be back. It was like, I just sort of like floated away. Incredible stall. The company, the woman, is called Elaine-Parfume. I'm going to put a link on the site so you guys can
put
all
it in
find. Yeah, so you guys
scroll
can
down
go
to the episode notes, and we'll have a link. The link to the blog. People know this, and then
you have to go. You have to go. And if you're,
what is her booth? Tell us everything.
Oh my God. She didn't speak English. She had to have her husband come and talk to me because I was like, where'd you find these? When did you start collecting? What'd you do? Like, who you are? Where are you going? What you doing? Like, I had all these questions for her, and she was looking at me like,
crazy American.
Yeah. I was like, were you a buyer? Were you like a collector? Were you a journalist? I needed to know where she got everything because this woman had every fragrance like ever.
In boxes, vintage, bottles, what?
Some were half used. Like some of it was like, if you went on eBay and it was like just the empty bottle, or it was like, half used, but still smells, and some of it was perfect, like new in box with tags. But she also had this amazing factice collection. So I'm going to post some of it on our Instagram stories and stuff. Incredible. She had like Anna Sui head. She had the Dolly head. She had, I'm going to just like throw out some random things, like in no order of importance, okay? She had the Anna Sui, like a Dolly head, like huge factice. She had like all the likely suspects, like the Chanel huge factices, but like more obscure ones, not just like Chanel No. 5. She had the Nina Ricci green scent that to me looks like a slug. It's like Belle something. It looks like a green slug with like a pink crown on it. You guys all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think it's a snail, but yeah.
Yeah. To me, it always looks like a kid's toy or something. She had, just to tell you how random and like 2000s niche she can go, she had like the gentleman only Givenchy flankers. Like she had, when I was in high school for Christmas, I wanted one of the Andy Warhol fragrances. I completely forgot about that. She had many Andy Warhol fragrances. She had everything. This woman had everything. Cases and cases and cases. And she had big, huge Vivienne Westwood factice, which is just like, imagine having that in your bedroom. How fabulous is that?
I don't know the Vivienne Westwood bottle.
It looks like it's just her logo, like the like the crown, like, kind of like a planet-y crown. She had everything. And then she had like tiny minis that look like they belong, like, Sylvanian family calico critters, like, it's like the long little dollhouse. Like the tiniest ones I've never seen.
I love how 80s your references always are.
We are who we are before we're like 4, right? It's like psychologically imprinted.
Mini factices, facticettes. There's probably a French name for them.
I was dead. So I'm going to put the stuff on the site. So if you're in France and you are a perfume person, like go check it out. I'm sure there are, I don't know why I'm so sure, but I feel like there are probably others that are like this. And this was the first one that I saw that was like this. But It was incredible. Other highlights were I went to Maison Objet, which was the big home decor show. And I've got to say, this is just like a little analysis. There were a lot of home fragrance brands there, but I think there's still room for more exciting innovation in that space. That's no shade to the existing brands. That's just saying I'm excited to see what we're going to see.
Besides a reed diffuser candle and then like the techie diffusers.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. I'm very happy with those options, but I feel like in beauty, other categories, I feel...
Where's the lip oil of home fragrance?
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Like a category breaker, like a whole new thing that everybody wants in on. Yeah.
And maybe there's a reason for that, but I just feel like we are on the cusp of something in a more optimistic way of looking for it.
Pomanders, perhaps? Ornaments?
What's the remember when L'Artisan came out with like the pomander? It was like, what is the next big thing? So I'm excited to see what that is because people want it. People are home. They're working from home. It's still happening. Maybe not as much. I mean, everyone's like, who the hell is working from home anymore? But like people are still working from home. And other highlights, so Marissa Meltzer. Marissa Meltzer is in Paris. She is...
Former Fat Mascara guest.
Yes.
Author of the new newsletter, Soft Power.
Soft Power. Check it out. Please subscribe. We talked about some Fabu beauty treatments in Paris that she is definitely going to be writing about in Soft Power. It seems like that is where...
Did you have time for any treatments?
No. It was... no.
Busy buying and meeting. And
I didn't have time to like sleep or shop or anything. It was just...
You had an hour for that booth at the flea market, though.
Yeah, and I had to look for my team because I spent so long in there. I was like, I got left behind. And on the way home, I rewatched The Idea of You with Hotterson, Nicholas.
So I was on the mic with Julie last week, and she's like, what are y'all doing to me with this text chain? Because there was like 48 texts in the Fat Mascara family text chain. And then we came to realize it was just you and Garrett talking about him.
Oh God, he's so hot.
He's our new muse. Can he be the muse of the show for the season?
I feel like only Garrett and I, or maybe just me, are like, into. Let me know if you're into him. I don't know. I just think he's great. Like the way he did, like he dances cool.
He dances cool. Always a highlight in a guy. That's funny you like that fragrance piece because I wanted to say, did you see any Stella McCartney by any chance?
When I say there wasn't time, she had so much stuff. And I was
so
like
she
scanning.
might have had a Stella McCartney.
It was an archive.
Well, the reason I ask is because while you were away, we were getting a lot of response to the week before that. You had asked about sparkling fragrance, or you had predicted a trend. We need to come back to the sparkle with perfume. So people have been DMing us their sparkly fragrances and whatever. And multiple times has come up that people are missing Stella McCartney's. I guess it was the original in that clear, tall bottle with the purplish, right?
Yeah, it was like a rose. It was a rose scent, yeah.
But like a dewy and a fresh.
It was very dewy, very watery dewy, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of watery dewy, we're going to actually touch on that when we get to Raison because we have a comment from a listener. But it's on brand that you're talking about fragrance because we have a guest in the virtual studio. It's not a guest. What am I talking about? It's our intern, Lexi. She's here today.
She's a special guest for the
special
episode.
guest who's always working hard behind the scenes, but has been working on some research into the fragrance space, mood-boosting fragrances. So after like a little bit of a shortened news, Lexi's going to pop in and we're going to chat about mood-boosting fragrances. So we'll keep that theme going. All right, let's get to the news then. Okay, I was going to lead up to Science Corner, but Science Corner had
This is a crisis. This is an emergency.
Science Corner had homework for Jess, and now we have to talk about it. So here's the deal, guys. We're in Science Corner. Forget the music. Let's just get right in there. There's this new tech using AI to assess your skin and predict what you'll look like after trying a new product. So the makers of this tech is Haute, H-A-U-T.ai, a global leader in AI-powered skin intelligence tools. So basically their Skin GPT tool, they're going to be selling it to brands to use in their work. What it does is takes a photo of someone, analyzes their skin. We all know that. We've seen that from a million companies. Tell you you're too red, tell you this and that. And what they're going to do is basically say, if you were to use X serum, so a company might buy it and say, hey, if you were to use our antioxidant serum, this is the change you can expect. And they can morph your face sort of to show you, here's what you'll look like after you try this product. So the newness is that aspect of it. But the more people that use it, obviously, with AI, the better it's going to get with its predictive technology. So right now, the website generative.skin is giving consumers a sample. So you can't yet see what products will do to you, but you can get one of those Vizia type analysis, if you will. So I was like, Jess, can you do it? Because I want to see what you think.
Oh, here it is again.
And
okay,
so
back.
she just did it. I've done it now twice. And I will say the most disconcerting part, and I don't know how I feel about this, is a perceived age number you get. So when you go on and take your photo, remember that Microsoft gem from the 2010s, howold.net? Does anybody remember that?
I don't.
Oh my God, I spent way too many times on there, like in different lighting with different makeup, like how old do I really look? So I am 46. I've gone on there twice now. The first time I went on with no makeup, my perceived age was 30. The second time I went on with makeup and I was 41. I think this is the problem with these things. I think it all depends on the light source and the quality of the photo.
And the makeup, if you're wearing makeup.
And clearly
right?
the makeup. But they also give you like a redness score and things like that. But Jess just did it because I had her do it. And then she just like dropped the phone. What was your reaction to?
Well, first of all, I don't understand, like, I'm just like probably also like not understanding how to work the software, which is my own issue. But they just showed me a bunch of photos. I was never in a sorority, but I always heard that one of the meanest things that could happen to you is they'll take a Sharpie and, and like point at your flaws.
Oh,
so there's a Sharpie. there's like a tool, the drawing tool.
Yeah.
Right on my marionette lines. So I look like I have like a little mustache.
Oh, yeah. I was like, and here's where, that's under when it shows you how old, like lines, the line, because there's a redness one. My big issue is redness.
It's like, that's exactly my hot problem.
Oh, no, it looked like I had a rash all over my face because like, here's all your redness. And I was like, thanks for highlighting it and making it more apparent to me.
It said pigmentation. I have like a mark. I mean, I'm very freckly, but it's like I have like one.
Oh, yeah. Don't do this if you're feeling vulnerable.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Wait. Can they pull up the photo? Pull up the photos again.
What was
GPT.
your perceived age? I shared mine.
Oh, yeah. Well, you shared like a bunch of incorrect numbers.
No, well, I'm 46. It said I was 30 once, 41 once.
Okay, so I'm 43 and it said 36, but I'm also wearing makeup.
Like you have foundation on, so.
Yeah, and I don't know how I'm staring into like the brightest light.
Here's why I wanted to talk about though, what I think is going to be interesting. We know when there's a serum or a new piece of skincare comes out, they'll often tell you a claim that sounds really great in the marketing. That's like, your fine lines will be diminished by 20%, right? And that's based on maybe a Vizia skin analysis. Like a depth photo is taken of your face before and then 8 weeks after using a serum. And the wrinkle became 10% less wrinkled, meaning say the depth of the wrinkle was 1 centimeter that's insane. 1 millimeter. Let's just do centimeters because it's easy. After you use the product, the depth of the wrinkle would be 0.9. And when you see 10% reduction in wrinkles or 20% reduction, I think people often think that means sometimes the number of lines on their face it sounds more impressive than it is. And what worries me is if you were to see, okay, I used this serum and the depth of my wrinkles decreased by 10%, I don't know how obvious those benefits would be. I don't know if that would sell you on it. Like if the serum company was like, look at what you're going to look like after you use this serum, would you buy it? Because it's one thing to see the before and after of a model where they picked the absolute best model who had the absolute best results and she's got great lighting. On your own self, I do think a lot of the skincare that we're sold, it's great, it's preventative, but it's not miraculous in any way.
Well, I think it's either do nothing or exert some control over your skincare routine and see an incremental benefit. Do you like the ritual? You will see some benefit with some skincare.
Tool, I'm worried that they're going to take out that part of it, which is the feel-good aspect, that I'm in control. You know what I'm saying?
I've had this conversation with people about before and afters, like shooting before and afters. And I feel like, I think we're saying the same thing. When you kind of hang so much on like, but what about the BNAs? Like we need to show a before and after to really compel people. I think sometimes you're shortchanging the product.
That's what I'm worried this tool will do.
I don't feel that way with certain, listen, like if a big company who's super clinical wants to show strong before and afters, that's great. If you have the resource, meaning like the money,
and it's
time
like
to do it
Botox levels of difference,
or even like a vitamin C or something. You've used it for like
change.
I'm sounding really skeptical about skincare. I'm not, but I think not every product needs to move the needle in a way that is going to be so. But did it reduce my fine lines by 8%? Because sometimes you just want stasis. Sometimes you just want to feel good in your skincare versus
and your skin comfortable. Like the moisturizer I love right now, I don't look younger using it, even though I think it might have an anti-aging claim on it. But I'm so comfortable because my skin's feeling nice and hydrated.
Same. I'm hoping that they're not going to be, well, you know what? I'm not going to say the name. I'm using a brand that's very like natural.
Okay. Are you new to it? This is a new product for you?
It's like a brand it's a newer product, but it's a brand that we've talked about before and loved them to death. And their ingredients are not like super active. They're very like, marshmallow bliss and
comforting.
Yeah, honey batuka poo, Okay. And, that's not a real ingredient.
Says the beauty director.
Honey
okay, go
ahead. And
sometimes it feels like that. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Bibbly boppity poop-a-doop. And
marshmallow has always gotten me because it's like, it is a root of an herb that does have comforting properties like chamomile, but it just sounds nice. So I'm always like, marshmallow.
Yeah. Do I think it's doing anything to make me look 36? Definitely not. Do I think that anyone is going to make me look 36? Probably not.
Also, what does 36 look like? Whose age? If it's perceived age, come to New York or LA, I think people look somewhat younger somehow than like when I'm home in Philly. I don't know why. Maybe it's more walking.
I don't know.
The number of means
you're not good.
Nothing.
Look 10 years younger from. If you know what I was about to say, even like I was alluding to like even medical intervention is not going to make you look 10 years younger. We've talked about this a million times on the show. A lot of Demi Moore is my like buzzword for the year.
Okay.
Demi Moore looks 10 years younger than her real age. But most people, even if you get Botox, Juvederm,
celebrities do.
You're not fooling anyone. You're going to look great for your age, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Also, you got to take into account what clothes you wear, your style, your personality. If you have your 27-year-old child with you, you know what I mean? Like, clearly these things are going to make people perceive you as a certain age. But I think this is interesting because it's the first time I've seen tech where they're like, they'll be able to do the predictive quality of a product and show that on a photo. It's almost like you were saying companies want before and afters. They're also very expensive, as we know, to conduct.
To do them properly.
With this tool, a company would be able to make these sort of virtual before and afters that are predictive to the person buying it, which almost in a way could be more valuable because it's like, cool, the before and after looks great. What's it going to be like on me? I think that's the value of this tool. But I'm also like, I hope that doesn't deter people from trying new things or just enjoying the ritual of skincare because I don't look that different.
I know.
Anyway, we had to go out of order there because we had to jump right into that because Jess almost dropped her phone when she saw her.
I was like, that is so shady that they put lines on around my mouth. It was like a football drawing. You know, when the football coach
that's where
does like
lines are. Like if we put a baby up to it, they wouldn't have. What is the technical name? Marionette lines. What's that one called?
Marionette lines.
No, that's not what the doctors say. It's glabellar. Is that the right?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, we're doing great today. Okay, so moving.
I call them like the penny loafer lines. You could like stick a penny in there.
Like the pencil test on your boobs when you're younger, like who's got saggy or not saggy, large.
Not saggy.
Sorry, that was, you know what I mean. Could you hold a pencil? I remember one time my friend Rachel, such an aside. We cannot.
Does she want her real name?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. It was like our greatest claim to fame. So we all heard about the pencil test. So we were doing it. And she had the largest breasts of all of us. She was like, oh, a pencil? Like, I could probably put a basketball. She goes, wait. She got out her trash can from her room, like her little wastebasket. She lifted up her breast. She put the wastebasket under it, and we played basketball off her nipple just to like prove, like she could hold an entire trash can under her breast. And she's like, I win. I win. You know what teenagers do. Oh my God, I haven't had that memory in forever.
I'm glad she's
dying.
very comfortable with her body that she would do that.
Honestly, she ended up having a breast reduction actually, because this was before. And that's when
incident was
I don't
so
think
traumatic.
it was the wastebasket test that had her. She had already been considering it. She had back issues. Oh my God, what up, Rachel? That was
I remember my mom told me about the pencil test when I was younger during like that whole time of my life.
Yeah.
And she was telling me about that and it sounded so retro to me. And she was like, that's when Twiggy was in fashion. And she's like, everyone did the pencil test because they wanted to be like Twiggy. Obviously, this is like her
who
personal.
couldn't pass the pencil test, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like
Okay.
if you wanted to be like, oh, could you go braless like in the 60s?
Okay, like small, petite breasts. Okay.
Yeah, she's like, and if you didn't pass the pencil test, you needed a bra. But people wanted to not wear bras to look like Twiggy and be very free and easy and kind of chic and like a little gamine kind of top.
I didn't know that's how it started. It was like whether or not you need a bra is what it was for.
I'm saying that was her personal
but
experience
that
with the
makes
pencil
sense.
test.
Yeah.
And it's just funny that I remember thinking that was old fashioned, but every generation has their own, like we're still talking about this 50 years later.
Oh, I got to check in with my friends that are teens. Like not my friends, but my friends' kids and stuff. Like there's teens in my life. I'm going to ask them. There's one girl I text her and I'm like, what's the thing? Is this the thing? I'm going to ask her if the pencil test is still a thing.
Ask her if, It sounds so antiquated, right?
It really does. Why did we start talking about the pencil test?
I don't recall.
Okay, well, moving on, I'll put a link to that tool in case you too want to have the facial version of the pencil test and feel great about yourself. Maybe that was the connection.
Awful.
Okay, next.
The penny loafers, that's why.
Oh, penny loafers. Thank you very much. Penny loafer lines. Okay, moving on. Just in skincare, this is kind of all skincare focused, but I've been seeing more of the term dermorexia floating around. I believe Substack's author, Jessica DeFino, a beauty writer who does some great work, I think she might have started the term, but just in January now, I've seen 2 different think pieces about people coining the movement that we've been clocking here at Fat Mascara of like really getting into skincare. And some might say almost obsessing over which products to use and plastic surgery and seeing what the celebrities are doing and do I need to be keeping up and calling it dermorexia, meaning of course like not of course, why should I say of course? It's a made up word. What I believe it's been defined as by the media is an unhealthy obsession with your own skin and face and what you can do to change it. I'll link to some of the stories so you can see what I'm talking about. I don't think there's anything new in the stories. To me, what is new is this word for it. And I'm not sure I love it because I think we've talked about dysmorphia here on the podcast, which is when you look at yourself and you see something that's not actually there and you're fixated. But to me, to make it to the level of anorexia feels like inflammatory.
Do you feel like anorexia is so serious that
yes,
it's almost like trivializing anorexia?
Yes, because I don't think they're talking about an obsession with skincare in your face that moves into the realm of a mental health issue, which is what dysmorphia is. And there are people that suffer from that. And that's what I don't want to diminish because I think what we're seeing is like, remember when people would say blonderexia, like when Platinum Blonde was in, I mean, it's in, like it's never gone on stage, but people who want to be blonder and blonder and blonder. I always hated the like co-opting of that term because I feel like it really does a disservice to the disease. And it's not a disease what we're talking about. We're talking about a cultural movement and people getting obsessed with skincare. But I
think you're right. I
just want to be careful that everybody realizes that there's an not unhealthy, there's a fixation and maybe like a cultural obsession, but that's very different from a mental health issue.
Yes. I agree. But don't you think that it is a mental health issue? That's a little bit of a leading question. I think it is a mental health issue, not putting it on the same plane as anorexia where you can be hospitalized and you can die. But when somebody can't even see themselves anymore, that they're like, I need more this, or I need to go back. You and I know these people personally who are like my Botox is wearing off after 3 weeks. Or they're like, my nose is really big and it's really small. Or they think they're 26 years old. I feel like there's the same theme over and over again. Sorry, guys. But like, this is literally where the culture is going.
I'm thinking? I don't mean to make this funny, but Jessa from Girls, I forget the real actress's name, but
Jemima Kirk.
Yeah, there was a meme going around a couple years ago where she was basically like, you're thinking about yourselves too much.
Yeah, I think you guys are thinking about yourselves too much. There is a true mental health issue when you have people, whether
fixated on a mirror, on...
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're on death's door, but I'm saying...
And you know what? We should probably have an expert on to help us distinguish where is that line. I think we've talked about this, you and I, offline, like off the podcast, because every time I've interviewed an expert about this, they're like, it's so individual to the person. But there are tests to take, like, do you spend more than X minutes a day, blah, blah, blah. And maybe we do need to dig into that. Like, yes, Jess is raising her hand. Go ahead.
I was also kind of stretching, but then it also was convenient that I had I thought,
I have a question. So what if this is how we did the podcast from now on?
No.
Yes. Jessie,
but
in the front row. Go ahead.
But then seriously, though, then you're going to have people who say, because I've had these conversations.
I know you have, and I have too with people.
Okay.
People talk to us because they know what we do for a living. Go on.
Yeah. They'll be like, it's their prerogative. They look great. It makes them feel good. Who cares? Mind your business. I am minding my business. We're just talking about this right now. If somebody wants to get 17 surgeries this year, and it's because it makes them feel amazing, is it a disorder? Is it like orexia? Or is it just, you go, girl? You know what I mean?
I think that's my issue. It's not my place to say. It's you and your doctors and your mental health. Like, I might have an inkling that you have an unhealthy fixation, but I'm not going to say.
No, you can. You can.
But the more that these things become available, I think people need the tools to understand if they are going into that unhealthy place.
Look, okay, but Jen, if it was your best friend.
That's different.
Right? If it was your family member, I don't think you could be like, it's not my place to say. Right? You can't sit on the mic and say this person, this celebrity, this, you can't diagnose on the mic. Yeah. But I think it's tough when it's somebody close to you.
But I would be reaching out because I would see them kind of suffering and I'd want to help them. But there's also, I'm sure you've been here with friends and family when someone's suffering and they don't want your help. And it's like, at what point do you stop trying to help someone help themselves? You can just be there for them. I think that comes down to the relationship you have with the person.
Yeah. And maybe it's like not the worst thing if they're not doing like drugs and like they're just getting tweak meds.
Yeah, but anytime you're not enjoying life because you're so fixated on something that's not related to enjoying life, I think, I want you to not be like that.
Yeah.
It's good that we're all talking about this, and it clearly the way the culture has changed and all the tools and the freaking phones with their cameras has made us think more about it. But I just wanted to clock that term and be like, is that the right term for that? All right, last one, just ending on a lighter note here. You know, we've fallen for this before where a beauty company comes out with like a fake product. I can't remember the last one we fell for, but there was like Taco Bell perfume. And then we realized it was an April Fool's joke. But it's not April. So I think this is real. It's related to the Super Bowl, which is coming up on February 9th. Like, what is that, next week when this airs? Coors Light tells me that they have made a face roller where you can put an ice cold can of Coors Light beer into the contraption and it will roll along your face for like Monday post-game cooling or depuffing. Picture your little face roller that maybe you leave in the freezer and depuff and chill, but make it the size of a Coors Light can. I will be honest, a chilly can of beer, it feels really nice pressed to your face on a hot day or when you're like overreacting because the Eagles are doing good or bad. I don't know. At the time of recording, I do not know if they're in the Super Bowl, but Coors Light. So what we're going to find out, I think by the time that this airs, whether this was real or not, but I'm going to put the link anyway. You can actually buy your own on their merch website. They say, if this is all a lie and this press release lied to me, I'm never, ever I don't know what I'm going to do. Anytime there's one of these, I'm just not going to talk about it on the news. How about that?
I think the NFL really
knows its new audience.
They know women like football.
And we like non-puffy faces. And I frankly like a nice ice cold Coors Light. Coors Light has to be like ice cold for me to like it, but isn't that its whole thing? So, all right, Lexi, we're gonna let her in the studio. Let's talk about fragrance. Let's lighten up a bit. Lexi's here. Lexi, welcome. Hi.
Welcome, Lexi.
Hi. Thank you for having me. So excited to be here.
I realized as you were coming on, I feel like you're always here, but the listeners don't actually know you and your voice yet. You've been working with us since August, I think, right?
It was a little bit later,
Okay.
like beginning of October-ish.
So tell us who you are, where you go to school, what you're studying, so the Fat Mascara fam gets to know you like I do.
Sure. So, hi, everyone. My name is Lexi McCallion. I'm a senior marketing major at Seton Hall University. I do aspire to work in the beauty industry, so this has been a super educational and phenomenal experience.
Stop, not phenomenal. Come on now.
Yes, you guys have introduced me to so many different beauty brands, creators, founders.
Lexi knows her stuff. She's got her marketing down, but you've been working for us on a special segment about fragrance. Tell me why you wanted to look into mood-boosting fragrances.
I wanted to explore mood-boosting fragrances because I've been wearing the same fragrance ever since I first discovered perfume when I was a teen.
And what's that?
Viva la Juicy.
Okay. Oh, that's so good.
Okay. Viva.
We were talking about
Yeah.
that the other day. Go on.
My grandmother used to work at Macy's, so every year on Christmas, we would get new fragrance. So every year at about the end of November, she'll text like, hey, same fragrance, same fragrance.
Aw.
So I've never explored any other fragrances. So I wanted to branch out. So I went online and I've been researching different fragrances, kind of like similar to the juicy one that I love. And I've been seeing recently all of these brands that are creating fragrances that are scientifically proven to boost your mood. So this kind of reminded me of that, like what can perfume do? And as someone who's now kind of starting to understand how the marketing of all of this works, I'm starting to realize, oh, does this actually work? Or is this just a new way to talk about fragrance?
Ooh, spoken like a Fat Mascara listener.
I love the skepticism.
So you ended up ordering and trying a bunch of these fragrances that are at least marketed to change or improve your mood or do give you something, right?
Yes.
So how did it go? Did you land on any that you feel like either you just like the perfume or are doing something? Tell us about them.
So there's actually 3 fragrances I wanted to talk about. And I feel, there's one of them where it was like very evident that the mood boosting aspect works. But I think just in general, I felt like they don't necessarily make you feel different, but they have a vibe to them. So, for example, the Charlotte Tilbury More Sex fragrance has this sort of sexy vibe to it. And I wasn't the only one who felt that way.
Okay.
Go on.
Should we just leave it there? Okay.
So the Charlotte Tilbury More Sex fragrance, which is from their Fragrance of Emotions collection, I picked this one because 84% of people agree that this fragrance enhances feelings of seduction. And that's taken from their website.
Okay.
Is this like not something we should be wearing to work?
I wouldn't.
Oh, okay. So who's these other people that think it also is sexy?
Maybe she wants to keep it private.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I remember my roommate and I both tried it and we were like, wow, this one, I could see this making you feel kind of sexy, you know?
Okay.
This perfume could definitely set the mood for the night. It's totally something you would wear on a date. It's a bold fragrance. I wouldn't necessarily wear it as an everyday fragrance.
Okay.
But
gosh, my signature scent is More Sex.
yeah. So yeah, it can be maybe seductive, it can be bold, but
So this isn't going to be your new Viva La Juicy,
definitely not.
I'm not
Definitely
asking
not.
grandma for this.
but we'll whip it
No.
out if needed in certain times. What if you're
Yes.
like texting grandma, yes, there's a new fragrance I want. It's called More Sex.
Oh my God.
Right.
No, thank you.
Okay, but you do agree. So you think you're one of those 84% of people who says this is a mood, it's a vibe. All right. So that's the way they're saying it's mood boosting. They found other people agree that one is sexy. What else did you try?
I tried the Vareo Sunray fragrance.
Oh, I like that one a lot.
I love that one. So I'm not sure, Jen, or any of the listeners, if they know about Vareo fragrances, but their fragrance bottles are created with Herkimer crystals.
Inside the bottle, there's crystals.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
this crystal that's dropped inside.
Yeah, so they're charged crystals, which are thought to infuse the fragrance with high frequency energy, positivity.
Love how you phrase that. Thought to. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that you said that. Go on.
The crystals symbolize purity, clarity, empowerment.
Are you a crystal-y woo-woo person, just to give us background? Like, are you into crystals?
I'm not, but I definitely did have an open mind to
Love that. Okay.
exploring this. So the Sunray fragrance is a fragrance designed to evoke feelings of joy and happiness. And to me, it really did evoke this happy feeling. It felt like, to me, like something I would wear either in the spring or the summertime, definitely not like a fall or winter fragrance. But when I was wearing this fragrance, I was like, I could picture myself wearing this either poolside or maybe when I go for a walk or a picnic in the park. And it made me think of that song, Pocket Full of Sunshine, like skipping in the park. And
That's mood boosting.
yeah, so this one, I think it definitely is a mood boosting scent. And it has this kind of citrusy,
Oh, that makes sense.
lemon oil.
Citrus is always so
turmeric.
happy.
Yeah. So, and I've never, like I said, I've never tried a fragrance that was like a super mood boosting, if you will, fragrance
But it worked for you?
that have ever made me feel that way.
Yeah. I want a bottle without the Herkimer crystals, and I want to do a little experiment. Spray with and without I just like saying Herkimer too. And see if it's the crystals or the scent itself. And Jess,
I've also heard them called Herkimer Diamond. Kind of
Oh.
elevated. Wait, what's the last thing you said?
Why do you like the scent, Jess? Because you
Same reason she said, yeah. It's very kind of bright and it's a little, I know we were talking about sparkly fragrances recently. It has a little sparkle to it. It's really bright. It has a lot of it feels it has like layers to it. You can smell the layers. Vireo has a lot of fragrances that I feel have a lot of patchouli and moodiness to them. And this one feels so different than the rest of them. It's very, it's very commercial. And I mean that in the nicest way. Like everyone likes it.
Like a Clinique Happy kind of vibes.
Yeah. I've never met somebody, we carry it at Moda and every time we spray it, people love it. It's just oh my God, that's so nice. It's like, there's nothing
I love that there's one scent that
complicated about it.
universally people are just in a good mood when they smell it. That's powerful, don't you think?
It's really nice.
That's what you put on when you're going to ask for an extension on a paper, Lexi. You go into the professor wearing that, and they're just feeling great. Sure,
That's
take a
smart.
couple extra days.
I might need that.
Yeah. You said there were 3, right? What was the last one?
Eden East.
Okay, tell us about Eden East. What's the story there? I don't know this brand.
So they're a luxury perfume brand. They conducted biosensor tests to study how scent molecules affect the brain's emotional center, the limbic system.
Okay.
And then they use this research to create the perfumes that can positively influence the mood and the state of mind. So they have 9 perfumes from their fine fragrance line, their active line, and then they have 7 of their life-boosting fragrances. And they want you to layer these perfumes as kind of a 2-step wellness experience, which was interesting. So step 1 is choosing the foundation perfume. So one of the perfumes from their active line. And that's supposed to be to enhance the expression of your outer self. And then step 2 is a mood boosting fragrance. So layering it with one of their life boosting fragrances to enhance your inner self, which is enhancing your mood, positive emotions, being mindful. So they have this kind of wellness experience.
Yeah, it's a ritual, if you will.
Yes.
What'd you think?
I tried their Love fragrance, which I really liked. I felt it was kind of a strong enough perfume where I didn't necessarily feel the need to have to layer it.
Was Love your inner or outer? Which line is that Love one from?
The inner, the life boost.
Okay, this was one of the boosters. Okay. So Love on its own was doing it for you.
Yes. And I liked that fragrance. It was a little bit sweet. It smelled like rose, a little bit florally. But yeah, I do want to try the whole wellness experience. Like I would want to try.
Wait, what happens if you put Charlotte Tilbury More Sex and then you put the Love topper on it?
Oh, I don't.
We're going overboard?
Yeah.
It's too
I don't
much?
recommend. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
I don't recommend.
Well, we were talking about pheromones just like a couple weeks ago. This is an extension of that conversation in a way. Like if the pheromones aren't doing it, let's be reaching for the love boost and the seduction. I don't know. Have you ever tried any pheromone fragrances?
No, I haven't.
Okay. She went all in on the science of the Edeniste and Vareo is how you say it?
Yes, but there still is something unique about buying into the mood boosting experience.
Like you're putting a little bit of your own belief in it, and it kind of like you're saying like it snowballs.
Yes.
Placebo. I mean, absolutely. I feel like that about, I don't even need the brand to tell me. I feel like just a perfume in general affects whatever vibe I'm putting out that day, depending on what I wear. It sounds like you were a signature scent girl with Viva La Juicy for so long. Where are we now in the Lexi world? Like, are you going to be wearing more fragrances? What has this taught you?
Definitely want to explore. I tried the Ariana Grande, The Cloud, and I've actually smelled, I love all of her fragrances. So that was actually the first fragrance that I bought on my own. And that one's really good too. I feel like I've just been trapped in this bubble for so long because whenever I wear the Juicy, I get compliments all the
It's
time.
really good.
I love it. It's my staple. And people tell me, like, that's your scent. When my cousin, she also wore it. She got it for Christmas one year. And she would walk around and my family would be like, wow, you smell like Lexi. So, like, that was my scent. So I feel like I've been trapped in this bubble for so long. And I'm really excited to explore new fragrances.
I think that happens to a lot of people because other people recognize it on them and then they feel like they can't change because they're known for it, kind of. There's been times in my life where there's a scent like that and people said, oh, you smell like Jenn. And then I'm like, you love that. It's so nice. It's such a nice compliment.
Right.
Well, tell them they're just going to have to deal because you're doing some experimenting and learning. So that's how it's going to go. Thank you for your research. We're going to put links to the 3 lines you talked about. I'm especially interested in this Edeniste. I got to check this out with the ritual, like you said, doing the 2. And is that just a new way of layering? I think that's really cool, too.
I like the Charlotte Tilbury one. It's very interesting.
The more sex? Yes. Lexi's going to be here all through the spring, so we might be hearing from her again. But I think Lexi, come with us. Stay in the studio. We're going to raise a wand, okay?
Let's do it.
Hi, it's time to raise a wand. Lexi's still here. Jess is here. I'm here. We actually got this as a text. You can text us 646-481-8182. So we're going to read this one and then we're going to play one as well. But this is a response when Jess and I did the predictions a couple weeks ago for 2025. And I came through with forest floor fragrances are going to be big. And Jess started the sparkling conversation. And what we were both finding was we wanted more fresh dewiness and water. We got a text from one of our listeners and this is what they said. The first thing that popped into my head hearing the common thread between the scents you and Jess were predicting was moisture. And it made me wonder if that's a subconscious answer to the dearth of water many of us, especially on either coast, both LA and New York City, in drought mode, physically feel in our lives. I am not at all a fragrance historian, but it'd be interesting to see how past scent trends overlap with environment, literal or otherwise.
So that would be interesting. I'd love for someone to get on the case there. But I think the more interesting thing here is just how freaking astute this person is and how just intuitive. That is so right and so real. And for me, I was like, oh, sparkling's just not been a trend. It's not been in perfumery for a while. What's going on? But I think the deeper thing is exactly what she's saying. This morning, it's even children are very, intuitive. Lake said this to me. She goes, it never rains anymore.
Oh.
If she just said it out of nowhere. Now, she's also got eyes. It's not like she's predicting an alien invasion or anything. It's not like, oh, animals know and it's, a tsunami's coming or something. But it was just so yeah. And then she just like went back to what she was doing. And I was so haunted by that.
That she pays attention. It's not like she's on CNN and hearing the anchor talk about drought conditions in New York City. She
No.
just was like, yeah, it hasn't rained in like 60
No,
days
she
or
just said
whatever.
it never rains anymore.
Interesting.
And it was like so upsetting, but it's just like chilling. And it's true. I think it's like we want moisture, freshness, optimism. And with the forest thing, do you want to speak to that? Because that was yours.
Yeah, I know there was a dewiness factor to it for sure. When you look at a parched landscape, and instead I wanted mushrooms. What did I say? Mushrooms and moss? Both of those things need
Wet,
rain
damp
to grow. And it's interesting that we all landed on that. So, yeah, I don't have the name from this listener because they just texted us, but genius.
What else does she know?
I know. I'm gonna text her back and be like, "What's your name? What else?"
Yeah, like
Give us
she's
your
like an
predictions.
oracle. Yeah, she's
Our
an oracle.
What if I never find out her name and we just like text her when we need to? I'm gonna give you her number 2. She's just gonna be like our fairy godmother of fat mascara.
Like, what's the vibe today? What's the vibe today? Like political landscape.
Yeah, should I buy a lottery ticket, fairy godmother? I love that.
What numbers are you seeing?
All right, on a more traditional raise a wand, we have a wand raise from Brett, and this has to do with washing your brushes.
Hi, Jess. Hi, Jen. My name is Brett Jackson. I'm a makeup artist here in the city, and I was just finishing up episode 560, the Pantene episode, and you were questioning a good makeup brush cleaner, and I will tell you the one that I've been using for 20 years. It's on Amazon. It's $5. I was previously on Diane Kendall's makeup team for many, many, many years. I mean, her first assistant told me about it, and it's actually an artist cake of soap. I'll try to keep this fast. On Amazon, you're going to Google the Masters soap. It's a cake of soap, a regular bar of soap. It's dark, dark, dark green. So just like a regular bar of soap, and you don't get the ferrule part of the brush wet at all. You can just do it with the brushes. And the concept is that it would take oil paints out of artist brushes. So it works really well for me. I've been using it for probably 20 years, and I rarely throw out brushes. I have some very old makeup brushes, and it's got a conditioner in it. So back in the day when we would use Dawn dishwashing soap or shampoo, all those things were so drying to some of the fibers if you had natural fibers. There's a lot of good synthetic fibers out there now. But the reason the foundation isn't coming out of the makeup brushes now is, yes, there's a lot more synthetic brushes. Foundation comes out better on natural bristle brushes, but the makeup has just got different ingredients in it now too. Anyway, all right. This is a long message. Enjoy the podcast. I've been listening from the get-go. All right. Take care. Thanks. Bye.
Brett, first of all, you're a makeup artist, so clearly we're going to trust you. Second of all, I did do what you said. I went to Amazon. I put in the Master soap. Here's what I love. 2 things. 1, the dark green color. Fine. 3 things. The label, it looks like it's from the 1800s. It's so cool. And then it's like $6. So thank you for the validation that the brushes have indeed changed and the makeup formulas have changed. And for the idea that cleaning them like we're cleaning oil paints might work. So I'm going to try that. To be decided if I do it in the shower or not. So I'm combining the fat mascara raise wands. Jess, what are you raising a wand to this week?
So the weather, a little bit more like weather talked for a second, but we'll get to the point. So weather is making my hands dry, but also like it's a gross feeling like my nails dry. You know when you're like like everything just feels super dry. I found a great cuticle oil, and I'm using it right now, and I'm just putting it on really liberally.
Wait, do you have polish on or not? Are you putting on?
No, I'm like not even wearing polish lately.
You just moisture.
It's like rugged over here right now. It really is. It's like
January. Is it still January? It's still January.
It's January when we're recording this. I will say I'm heavily moisturized, though. I've been doing 4 layers of moisture.
It's not a sandwich. That's like a moisture sub. It's a moisture hoagie.
Oh, my God. I see your beauty sandwich, Yvonne Pohl, and I raise you the moisture sub. Maybe that'll be the next product. So I'm using the Manicurist Paris nail and cuticle oil, and I'm just with complete imprecision. I just do like a run it over all 4 finger, all 4 here, and then I grab the thumbie. I do the thumbie, and then I just massage it in, and then I get the other ones, get the other. I'm like an otter. I'm like rubbing it on my
You
little.
do look like a little otter.
Like I'm like a little otter. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's it. That's the nail care for January.
That's what we're doing. I like Manicurist Paris. I did spell it wrong once in the cut, and I feel so bad about it.
It's a different spelling.
It has two U's instead of an I. Manicurist, a green nail polish brand.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I think we're on the same page here because I'm in hydration mode. I have been wanting to try, and I finally bought it, the CeraVe's new hairline, because everybody loves CeraVe skincare. So I did the Gentle Hydrating Shampoo and Conditioner.
How was it?
Oh, amazing. Okay, year of drugstore shampoo. Maybe Alex Earl started this off, but yeah, I'm vibing on the drugstore shampoos and conditioners. I'll go with the positives first. The amount of when it really suds up and it's a creamy lather and you just feel like you're at a salon because it's really, really good lather. It's that without it all being drying. And I had a dry scalp this winter. So I was thinking this is going to be drying, but it left it super moisturized.
Nice.
And then the conditioner, dude, Kerastase levels of moisture. It's one of those buttery, it's not a pump. It's a squeeze tube that looks like toothpaste kind of tube. And I was like, this is rich. For $10, it's so rich. Those are all the positives. I love it. If you have a sensitive scalp, if you need extra moisture, it's great. Downside.
Sold. Add to cart.
Let me just put the downside out there just so we can all have the whole thing. It's unfragranced. So it's fragrance free. Now, this might be a positive for some people, which is why I wanted to raise a wand to it. Because say you have an allergy or I don't know, you don't want it to compete with your shower gel or your perfume or you're just sensitive to fragrance. I'm not going to lie, it's very odd to me to wash my hair without that bloom of scent you usually get in the shower. Look at Lexi nodding. Do you agree, Lexi?
I do.
It's the best part about washing your hair, right? For me. So I'm torn. The results are great. The product is great. But I also know I'm raising a wand because I think that there will be listeners of ours that will think of that as very much a positive thing. So
yeah, there will be listeners who very much. You know what? You know who's this going to be hit with?
Who?
Parents of young children, kids with eczema, allergies, people with very allergy-prone
derm
skin.
Conditions.
Yeah.
Which I think is why CeraVe did this, obviously. They're a skincare brand. It makes sense.
I feel like Aveeno was so good. Well, even I don't know, do they have any fragrance? Maybe some of them. It's everything is no anything, and that's what's the positive. So maybe this is another kind of option in that world.
What I do love though, so you're going to get the decadence in the formula and the results just without the fragrance. So if that sounds good to you, I raise my wine very high to it. Lexi, thank you for contributing.
Thank you, Lexi.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. All right, everybody go get your beauty sleep and we'll see you next week.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
It's your reviews and feedback that help us make the podcast even better. Head over to iTunes to rate and review us or email your thoughts to info@fatmascara.com.
We also want to answer your beauty questions and hear what products you love. To share a Raise a Wand product review or to ask a beauty question, email us at info@fatmascara.
If you send it as a voice memo file, we can even share your voice on the podcast. You can also do that by leaving us a voice message. Our phone number in the United States is 646-481-8182.
Thanks so much for listening.